I'm sure you've read some of these articles that talk about the potential one-person billion-dollar company and how that could be achievable via AI agents and also freelancers. How far are we from that moment?
I love that as an aspirational vision that you have a solopreneur, single person company that in the span of 5 years could create the next unicorn. You can call it a great example of eating your own dog food, but nearly every function within Upwork has a mix of full-time employees and freelancers that we've hired off the platform. It's very clear to me and very clear to my team that if we are going to drive toward pretty aggressive revenue growth goals, that I'm the person who's on point and is accountable for hitting those goals.
I would love to get your take on how you're going about ensuring high quality on the supply side. Hey, this is Carlos's AI voice clone. He is the CEO of Product School and the host of the Product Podcast. He asked me to set the stage for today's guest before he takes over the interview. Dave Bottoms is the General Manager and Vice President of Product at Upwork, the world's largest work marketplace. Upwork has been at the forefront of the remote work revolution, playing a pivotal role in shaping the freelance economy and transforming how businesses connect with global talent. The company experienced significant growth during the pandemic as remote work became the norm. Today, Upwork is a public company with over 18 million registered freelancers, more than 800,000 active clients, and a market valuation exceeding $2 billion. Dave's career journey is fascinating. He started as a journalist covering Silicon Valley tech companies in the mid-90s, just as the internet boom was taking off. He then transitioned to product leadership roles at tech giants like Meta, Dropbox, and Yahoo. At Yahoo, he led the homepage redesign under CEO Marissa Mayer's tenure, implementing personalization at scale for one of the top 5 most heavily trafficked destinations on the internet at the time. Now Dave leads Upwork's consumer business unit with a global team responsible for the talent marketplace, search and recommendations, and ads and monetization. He's also spearheading the product strategy for implementing AI and exploring new monetization strategies. In this episode, we'll explore how Upwork is leveraging AI to enhance both client and freelancer experiences and product challenges scaling a two-sided marketplace. We'll also dive into Dave's vision for the future of work, where a small number of full-time employees can build billion-dollar companies using AI and freelance talent. Let's dive in. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Dave, I know you are now the GM and VP at Upwork, but it seems like you started your career in Silicon Valley as a journalist.
That is correct. A little known fact that dates me back to the late 90s. I was the associate editor of Industry Week magazine covering Silicon Valley, and that's what brought me to California.
Oh my God. And then I see that when you work in product, you spend time at Meta, Dropbox, and Yahoo. One of the fun facts that I see here is that you were leading the Yahoo homepage back in the day when it was cool in 2013, and it made it to the top 5 most heavily trafficked destinations on the internet.
It used to be number 1, but then this company called Google came along. But I started my second tour of duty at Yahoo in 2011. I am proud to say I worked for every CEO of Yahoo except for Tim Kugel, who was the first one when Yahoo was born and went public with Jerry and David's guide. And I ran the homepage team and news and Yahoo Sports teams during my tenure at Yahoo.
So was Marissa Mayer the CEO there when you were also running the product?
Yeah, she was the last one, and I can tell you a couple of fun stories about the homepage and working with Marissa on a homepage redesign in 2012.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, there was this project we called it Home Run, because we really needed to demonstrate to the world that we could do personalization at scale. And Marissa called in the homepage product team. She's probably 2-3 months into the job at that point, and said, we're going to do personalization at scale, and we're going to do it on the biggest canvas that we have, which is the homepage. And you're the team that's going to do it. You've got 4 months. And if you can't do it, I'll find a team that can. And so we left the meeting and we thought, okay, so 4 months, let's work backwards from the end of the year and figure out how we're going to do this. And at that time, we had a fairly distributed engineering team. We had engineers in Bangalore, India, and some in Taipei, Taiwan. We knew that if we were going to do a really aggressive sprint, we needed to get people co-located in Sunnyvale, working on the homepage redesign. It was really more than a redesign. It was really how do we build what today is pretty commonplace. You see feeds everywhere from Twitter to Facebook, but we built the first. We called it the content stream on the Yahoo homepage that sat below the Today module, which was editorially programmed. And the stream was all algorithmically generated so that every individual who came to the Yahoo homepage, and as you referenced at the time, it was the fifth largest destination on the internet. Everybody got their own customized stream based on what we knew about your interest and what you were likely to click on. So I might get a very sports heavy feed. Other people coming to Yahoo may get a very finance heavy feed or a news heavy feed. But we did kind of ML and ranking personalization at scale before it was called AI and before it was really kind of as cool as it is today. And built the homepage redesign in 4.5 months. The half, we didn't quite make it because we had this holiday shutdown over the holidays. And so we actually launched it in January. And Marissa wanted to be the one to demo it. And she demoed it live on the Today Show the morning that we were rolling it out globally. And she told us right before she flew to New York to demo it that she's never done a live demo before. So we had a little pressure with the boss in New York demoing the new homepage on the Today Show live. But luckily, the engineering team and I got up early and we were in the office in Sunnyvale about 2 a.m. and making sure that it was rolling out, making sure that everything was going according to plan. And she did a live demo and it was awesome.
That's incredible. Well, thank you for sharing. And now I see that you are at Upwork. Obviously, I've been using Upwork. Before it was called Upwork. So maybe you can tell us a little more about what the product is today.
Yeah, well, today Upwork is the world's largest global talent marketplace. So we bring together clients that are looking for freelance talent to hire and bring on everyone from kind of very small businesses, moms and pops, all the way up to enterprise-sized customers like Microsoft and Google are hiring talent on Upwork. Some of our biggest categories are things like web and mobile software development, design, sales and marketing, a number of, literally hundreds of categories of freelancers. And to your point, it became Upwork several years ago when two of the largest freelance marketplaces, Odesk and Elance, came together, merged, and formed what today is known as Upwork.
And today the company is public with a valuation of over $2 billion, which is pretty impressive. I remember when I first started using the product, I think I used Odesk, and it was mostly for copy work. So I'm very curious to know what are some of the top categories for your marketplace today.
Yeah, well, we cover hundreds of categories, things like web and mobile software development for clients that say, hey, I need to build a website or I need to build a mobile app. And all these ancillary categories that sprang up from developing websites or apps, design, sales and marketing, SEO optimization, social network, social programs, or social marketing. Virtually, if you could think of any kind of work that you try and get done in the professional world, you can find a freelancer on Upwork that does that.
So I want to cover some of the macro trends that I can imagine have impacted your business in major ways. One is remote work, especially since the pandemic, as more companies started feeling comfortable hiring talent remotely. What was that impact for your platform?
It was a massive growth opportunity for Upwork. When you think about the impact that the pandemic had on not only how people work, but the perception of being co-located in one time zone sort of washed away, and people saw the potential for distributed teams and hiring talent wherever it is in the world. So that was a real boon to Upwork's business and probably accelerated the adoption of freelance work because remote work was so acceptable at the time. I think the other factor that you maybe alluded to that's it's a macro trend that we're seeing right now is the rise in adoption of AI and how AI is coming into play not only for the kinds of work that we do and offer via freelancers on the platform, but the kinds of tools that they use to do work more efficiently, and how we're using AI in the platform itself to make finding and hiring talent easier and faster.
That's exactly what I wanted to cover with you. So specifically about AI, what are some of those jobs that you see more companies outsourcing?
Well, there's different categories of AI work, and in terms of expertise that talent has with AI, we see new job types, things like prompt engineering. Obviously, data science and ML engineering has been around for a while, but the demand for people with those skills has really skyrocketed. I think the other area that is really interesting and exciting is agents or AI that can automate certain tasks, and the ability to kind of build AI into complex or legacy workflows. We've started doing that ourselves in our product development process and in the platform that you see on Upwork.com. We call our AI agent Uma, Upwork's Mindful AI. And we've used it to benefit both clients on the platform who are looking for talent, as well as talent who are looking for work on the platform.
So as you think about agents, the counter argument to that is if now agents can do work that used to be done by humans, how is that connected to now people going to your marketplace to hire more humans?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you for the tee up on that. I think we're a long way away from AI 100% replacing humans. We like to think about the human in the loop and the efficiencies that you can get with AI. And think about a category like translation, for example. Say, yeah, I know you're from Spain. You want a website translated into Spanish. In a traditional case, you might hire a freelancer who is a native Spanish speaker to translate that website. And that work doesn't change with AI, but it gets a lot faster and more efficient. Now you may be able to translate that website using AI, but it doesn't get it 100% there. You may be still hiring a human to be an editor who is familiar with the colloquial language of Madrid, where you're from, for example. And AI may not know some of the nuances and ins and outs that a native speaker from Madrid might in translating a website. So the AI makes it more efficient to do that translation, but you still want a human to be coming into that workflow. So it's created categories of work in other places and ways, really in complex work. So if you think about an example of building a native mobile app, an iOS app, there are a number of different tools that exist today to build the kind of framework for building that app. But you're going to still want to hire an iOS developer to kind of go from the 60% or 70% of what can be kind of generated by an agent out of the box to really customizing that app for your customer base. So I think we're interestingly a long way from AI replacing people, but AI doing 50, 60, 70% of the work. And then the people coming in to refine, customize, augment what exists. You're getting a work product, if I use that word, much more quickly and efficiently. So customers can save time and also save money. Also on the freelancer side, because these tools are so powerful, they can actually do more work. So they can take on more projects and get more done because they're using AI tools like Copilot or ChatGPT to do parts of the work that are repetitive or mundane tasks.
So now as we see the rise of agents to enable humans to do more work, is the expectation that clients already have agents and they just go to your marketplace to hire a freelancer? Or is the expectation that when a client goes to your marketplace to hire a freelancer, that freelancer is going to have agents already?
It's probably a little of both, where you may have clients in a case where they're using one particular tool and they're looking for expertise, say a prompt engineer to build custom workflows for a project that they're working on. That's a use case where the client is using a tool already and they're just looking to find the expertise in in a freelancer who can make effective use of that tool. In the more typical case, I think we're still seeing clients coming with a business outcome or a job to be done, if you will. They're thinking about, and that may be building an app or building a website, where the AI could be a tool that a developer uses or a designer uses or even a project manager uses to be more efficient or effective, but you're still hiring that freelancer for that particular job to be done. I think in the future, what we're going to see is more and more of Upwork's mindful AI being in the middle of the matchmaking and trying to translate what is it that you're looking for. You're not actually looking to hire somebody, you're looking for the outcome. And will facilitate what is the right tool to drive that outcome and what is the right talent that needs to augment that outcome. So again, the building a web app example, you may need multiple types of skill sets to build an app. You need an iOS developer, an Android developer, somebody who's familiar with a Flutter framework, somebody who's familiar with integrating payments into the mobile app itself. There are various tools for building the core capability of that app and making it cross platform or cross device. But the magic is going to come in the facilitation of what can be done by the AI and what specific skill sets do you need to augment the AI to get the business outcome that you're trying to drive.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's the other part of AI that I want to cover with you. I see in a lot of platforms, marketplaces or other platforms like Netflix, for example, one of the challenges is time to value, right? Like you go to this discovery feed that has so many options that sometimes it's just hard to find the right one and then users give up. So how do you think about implementing AI to help that user go to that business outcome faster?
I think the first and foremost challenge that most people have in their minds is being able to effectively express what is the outcome that you're looking for. So take your Netflix example. You might have it in mind the kind of movie that you want to watch, a comedy, an action, documentary, what have you, when you go to Netflix, or you may be looking for some kind of serendipitous discovery. Recommend something for me that people like me have watched or something like that. That's the same kind of role that I think AI is playing in work outcomes, where the AI is actually trying to help you express what are you actually trying to get done. You may know that you want to build an app, but you may not know what skill set you need in order to do that or drive that outcome. And by asking the right questions and having a conversation around what is the project that you're envisioning, we're getting actually a lot smarter about making recommendations for what is the right tool and what is the right talent to pair together to deliver that outcome in a fast and efficient way.
So other challenges that I see in marketplaces is the classic situation when, let's say, client finds freelancer and then they try to skip the platform. So I would love to learn more about some of those dynamics and how other people who are building marketplaces can be mitigating that.
That's a problem, as you point out, for almost any marketplace. There's two sides to the marketplace. The supply side, in our case, is talent, and the demand side is client. And our value is in being able to match the right talent with the job that the client wants to have done. Obviously, when they find each other, there's value in that match. And we talk about the challenge of circumvention, where a client might say, hey, I'm going to take you off platform and I'll pay you as a one-to-one relationship. That really disadvantages both parties when that happens, because the client no longer has the quality enforcement to make sure that the talent is delivering on the timeline and against the contract that they set up. But the talent doesn't have a guarantee that they're going to get paid either. So there's a trust factor in operating within the friendly confines, I say, of the Upwork platform. There's a benefit to both parties. We have gotten more aggressive about trying to identify circumvention happening on the platform, for example, through our messaging between clients and talent, not sharing personal email addresses or phone numbers, but making sure that all of the communications are happening on our platform. And we've gotten a lot better at spotting and identifying trends that lead to trust erosion between both parties, fake jobs or scams, if you will, or clients that are not actually paying their talent on time. So we look at a lot of different signals. We're using AI in many places on the platform to detect recurring patterns and to identify bad actors on the platform. And we're being more aggressive than ever before at suspending people who violate our terms of service.
I like how you're putting this because to me, the way I understand it is there are two main incentives. One is working on making it harder for people to leave the platform, but also incentivizing people to not want to leave the platform by adding more value and ensuring quality and other types of services. So even though you can technically do it, you don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a two-pronged strategy. There's a carrot and a stick. The carrot has to be really obvious in terms of the value that we're creating for both sides of the marketplace so that they're incented and want to transact on our platform. And we have many clients who've hired many, many people over many, many years who keep coming back because we can share with them their work history or share with them the availability of freelancer that they've worked with before, that sort of thing. But we're not shying away from using the stick when bad actors are on the platform or clients or talent are violating the terms of engagement that we have for being a proactive and professional member of the Upwork community.
So given we are talking about a marketplace, I want to frame the next discussion on one side of the marketplace, and then we'll go to the next one. So first side of the marketplace, supply, freelancers. So yeah, it seems like you guys have over 18 million freelancers registered on Upwork.
We have a lot of supply. And part of the reason is because we have a lot of demand. So we're the largest marketplace, and freelancers want to go where the jobs are and where they can earn and where they can differentiate and build their own brand and build their own reputation on our platform. So yes, we have a lot of talent from all over the world. Across a range of different categories. One of the things that we're focused on for 2025 is an initiative that we call talent enablement. We want to make Upwork the best place to go to earn a living for freelancers. And so that includes things like how to successfully onboard, how to learn how to use the Upwork platform, how to certify your skills, how to verify your identity. We want talent to kind of get the success criteria in mind right out of the gate so that they can start building their reputation, because that's a really valuable asset earned over time from delivering high quality work.
So let's talk about those options. I'm thinking about Uber, for example. They have drivers who are making a living out of it, and there are more casual drivers who just want to do this on the side. So how do you think about that dichotomy for your supply?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're always going to have people on the platform that are doing kind of side jobs or part-time work or looking for, 5 to 10 hours worth of project work to kind of augment their income. But I think our mental model is thinking about the full-time professional freelancer who's earning the lion's share of their living on our platform. And how do we provide the right tools and incentives for them to not only find work, but to find recurring work, to find clients that are going to hire them over and over, to find opportunities to expand their skill set from one category to another. And build their reputation as they go. So we're really looking at the freelancer as not just different types and different geographies and different categories, but like how can they earn whatever their specific skill set is? How can they make a living on Upwork? That's part of our mission, by the way, which is really exciting for being a mission-driven company, is creating these economic opportunities for people all over the world so that they can live better lives. So the part of our charter that's exciting is helping people, find work and have successful lives and feed their families.
And I resonate with that, and I think part of being able to accomplish that is ensuring high quality of service. So clients want to continue giving more business to those freelancers. And I picked on this thing, this article I read, it was in 2020, so even before you joined Upwork, but it mentioned that the company purged 1.8 million freelancers to focus on higher skilled workers. So I would love to get your take on how you're going about ensuring high quality on the supply side?
That is a great point. I guess that was before my time in terms of purging. Naturally, I think you see the top talent kind of bubbling to the top because they're building their reputation. We have a system called the JSS score, or job satisfaction score. So a client will rate a freelancer at the completion of doing a project. And that is really like the gold standard. If you use your Uber example, like what is your star rating as a driver that helps attract future business? Freelancers that are earning on our platform with a strong reputation, that's one of the most powerful signals that a client can find to kind of guarantee that they're going to not only be able to do the work, but deliver high quality. So we want to really focus on the talent that is able to earn, that is reputed, that is who they say they are, and that are able to deliver high quality work for clients. For some of the people at the bottom, 10 and 20% of clients or of talent, Upwork may not be the place for them. They probably won't find work. So I think that's the interesting challenge in supply and demand. We do everything we can to attract more clients onto the platform by having such a range of talent available. But the highest earning talent on the platform are going to be the ones that can build the reputation and that can offer their work product at a very fair price, which they control.
So when you identify these rising stars, right, people that are delivering consistent high quality, like what are some of the specific mechanisms that you can create to retain that type of talent and ensure that they want to continue investing their time within Upwork?
I'm not going to give away a couple of things that are in the works, Carlos, but when you have me back to talk about it next year, I'll give you a couple of really specific examples of what we're doing for our top talent to keep them retained and engaged. Right now, the single best thing that we do for retaining talent is providing new work opportunities so they can continue earning on our platform. But we do have some pretty interesting, exciting things on our roadmap that I can't get into today that are really designed to drive loyalty and ongoing retention of that top 5% or top 10% of talent that are highly valuable and highly sought after by our clients.
All right. Well, let's move on to the demand side.
Okay.
Demand, customers. I see here that you have over 800,000 active clients. And I can imagine there is a very wide spectrum here between solopreneurs, people that, have a small business, all the way up to Fortune 100. So how do you go about segmenting your demand?
Yeah, let me first define an active client as somebody that has an active contract open. So it means that they've hired a freelancer from the platform and within the last 30 days. So they are considered active when their contract is open. And to your point, we do serve the range from solopreneurs and very small businesses, from one employee, the entrepreneur, to 10 is what we would consider a very small business. 11 to 50 or so, 49, if you want to be really technical and split hairs about it, is how we define small businesses. And then medium, 50 to 200. Beyond 200, you get into mid-market, and 1,000 plus, you have enterprise-sized customers. And we have clients at all sizes on Upwork. By far, I think the lion's share tend to be the long tail of very small businesses, because we serve a very unique need of being able to provide expertise that they probably don't have in-house. If you're a mom and pop shop, you probably don't have an SEO expert in-house or a social marketing expert in-house, but you still need to drive sales for your business. Enterprises have very different kinds of needs at the high end of the spectrum. They care a lot about compliance and payroll, and being able to retain talent at scale. When I say scale, I mean like you're hiring and opening dozens, if not hundreds, of contracts at a time on the platform. So there's a lot of difference between the small end solopreneur and the high end larger enterprise customer and what they need. But from a talent standpoint, talent can play on both sides. They can take projects with small business clients, or they can be part of what we call our expert vetted talent program, which takes into account top freelance talent and makes them available for the enterprise customers to hire into their project work.
And from a product strategy perspective, like how do you go about ensuring that you are building the right solution for a large enterprise, which is different from what maybe most people can see when they check out your website today?
Yeah, you probably you weren't there, but we were just having this conversation today with the product owner for Business Plus, which is a new offering that we created, and it was born out of our enterprise business unit. And now we're starting to offer it to smaller businesses through a self-serve motion. And it's interesting because large enterprises have certain needs, to your point, and small businesses have another set of needs. And we service those pretty differently from our go-to-market standpoint. The vast majority of customers on Upwork today use or self-serve. So they come to Upwork, they sign up as a client, they get exposed and access to talent. And we have various kind of tiers of kind of freemium type experiences. Business Plus is the first example of what I would call a client-oriented product that sort of spans the self-serve go-to-market motion and our enterprise sales go-to-market motion. A lot of our enterprise sales team is selling Business Plus to clients that are kind of graduating from the marketplace and doing the self-serve and are looking for another level of service, access to our expert vetted talent, which has previously been exclusively an enterprise feature or capability, and net 30 payment terms and access to kind of premium support. Those are the three big offerings that are part of Business Plus.
So as you think about your org design, given that you have, first of all, two sides of the marketplace, but then also within the demand side, you also have different customer segments. How do you structure your team?
Well, let me start at the company level. We have 4 business units. Marketplace, which is the self-serve motion that I just talked about that I lead. There's a enterprise business unit that is led by my colleague Ernesto, who recently took over that responsibility, and they drive the sales go-to-market motion with larger enterprise customers. We have a payments BU that is responsible for our payments platform, and we have a trust and safety BU, which is responsible for identifying the bad actors on the platform that we talked about earlier, as well as running our customer support function for both enterprise and marketplace. So that's the high-level business unit structure. Within my team, I have a couple of product leaders and an engineering leader and a UX leader. The product leads are divided between running traditional product-led growth on our marketplace and 0 to 1 and 10 to 20 kind of experiments. So a lot of the things that I talked about earlier in using AI have been born out of our emerging businesses team that's focused a lot on incubating and building and nurturing new businesses. And then the third product area is kind of a horizontal platform area that is focused on building the capabilities that are used by both the marketplace, the enterprise, and our emerging 0 to 1. You can think about things like messaging, search and recommendations, mobile app frameworks. Those are all part and parcel of the horizontal product capabilities team.
So if I were to zoom in into your org, I would see 3 specific groups, right? One is the infrastructure or the platform team that's more horizontal. And then you have like this emerging business, which is more 0 to 1, and then the more consolidated business.
Yep. You can think about it as like traditional self-serve org is one rock, 0 to 1, new businesses, a new rock, horizontal layer of platform under that. And under that, you have engineering and UX as the functional leadership that are mapped to each of the product pods.
One of the things that also caught my eye is that your title is VP of Product and GM. Not all the VPs of product are GM. So what is the difference in your case?
Well, the difference is that I'm the one throat to choke on the revenue number. I've always been a product owner that had a business mind and had business responsibility for revenue, but I really appreciated Upwork that we made the transition. I joined as VP of product and was leading the growth team and the emerging business team. And then we moved to this GM structure really for the accountability so that it's very clear to me and very clear to my team that if we are going to drive toward pretty aggressive revenue growth goals, that I'm the person who's on point and is accountable for hitting those goals. So that's the key difference. I don't just spend all day in product reviews and design reviews. I spend a fairly balanced amount of my time in revenue reviews and business operations reviews, and how do we get the teams unblocked to move faster so that we can meet our revenue targets for the company.
Well, I love that because I own the number in my company too, and I consider myself a product person. So that gives me the credibility to ask the next question. When you have a 0 to 1 team and then you have a more consolidated team, how do you protect that 0 to 1 team to ensure that they have the right resources and space to grow, even though you know that from a pure P&L perspective, they are not going to move the needle that much in the short term?
Yeah. You really have to be disciplined about setting up the org in a way that the 0 to 1 investment is really ring fenced, and that those are not resources that are fluidly moving between the greatest business need, because they're not going to have the ability to drive impact at the same scale as the core business team, right? So I've created basically these mini or sub BUs within the marketplace organization, where you have a core experiences team that drives the lion's share of the revenue, but we ring fenced product engineering and design 4 or 5 pods that are focused on some of these net new bets that have a longer time horizon, looking at kind of a 2 and 3 year payback period. And they might move a lot faster at cycling through and pivoting, almost like operating like a startup within Upwork, so that they can kind of validate their hypotheses, test new ideas with target customers. And their charter is to find the next $100 million business for Upwork. I think it's really interesting that they are set up. Each has a product / GM owner. The core business has a product-led growth person who also carried the title of GM, and the emerging businesses leader carries the business title of GM as well, even though he's about as pure play a product person as you could be. The goal in setting them up that way is so that you can create the space and the predictability that says, how much capacity you're allocating to your 0 to 1 net new business opportunities. And I like to think about like the percentage. If you were breaking it down, we probably have 60% of our resources on the core business, because I have to make my revenue targets every quarter. About 30% on emerging business, and about 10% on things that are going to service both, either, keep the lights on, design enhancements. How do we create process efficiencies for our development teams and things like that? But that's just like simple math, I would say. There are a lot more sophisticated ways that we cover up, like what is our overall engineering capacity between the core business and the emerging bets. But the nutshell is that you got a little bit of resource ring fenced, and they have a longer time horizon to prove that some of these new bets can be on a trajectory to build a meaningful new business line.
Yeah, and another challenge of these type of setups is that a lot of people in large companies, they get very excited about 0 to 1, right? Everybody likes to say, I'm working on 0 to 1. It's the sexy thing. Suddenly it's what gets the attention of the GM or the CEO. And then next time everybody wants to work on 0 to 1. So how do you go about truly allocating the right team members to the right products?
There is a mentality to it, but I like to say that team is emerging businesses. It's not the innovation team, because it's everybody's job to think about innovation. And regardless of what side of the business you work on, whether it's 0 to 1 or whether it's the core experiences part of the business, we need to be thinking about how do we disrupt ourselves and how do we innovate in our own swim lanes within our own charters. So I don't think there's any, special treatment or anything in being in a 0 to 1 team versus a core experiences team. We kind of think about it in terms of what's the impact that you can have, either business impact or customer impact in creating better experiences that customers are going to benefit from. And how can we leverage our customer insights to try and figure out and prioritize what are the highest impact things that we can do? Some of them may be 0 to 1 and others may be on the core business. And like any parents, I love them both. Because they both have a reason to exist, and there's actually a lot of really interesting learnings and synergy between a core team that is responsible for the lion's share of the revenue for the business, and a 0 to 1 team that can move fast, break things, figure out what's working, and then apply some of what they've learned back to the core business.
Well, let's keep talking about money.
Right.
I can imagine that your main business model is to collect a fee from the transaction in between the client and the freelancer. But I also see this emerging business line in different marketplaces. Uber is another good example. Ad monetization. I'd love to learn more about how you're thinking about that.
Oh, you asked one of my favorite topics, Carlos. I love talking about monetization. And I love talking about ads. As somebody who worked on ads at Meta prior to Upwork, ads at Upwork are a little bit different. But I'll start with the difference between fees and subs as two of our revenue drivers. The traditional marketplace of Upwork runs on fees. So there's a client-side fee and a talent fee. When they match and create a contract, we will take a percentage from each side. And that's pretty well understood in marketplace businesses. Increasingly, we have been finding that there's demand by freelancers for a subscription product that we created called Freelancer Plus, $24.95 a month. And you get access to a number of tools and capabilities and privileges that help make you successful as a freelancer on the platform. And that's become a very fast growing business line really in the last year for us. So we think that there's some interesting potential on the client side for subscriptions as well. On the ad side, we don't have ads in the traditional sense where you would have banners or native ads and feeds and whatnot, but we have an ad product that we call Boosted Profiles for talent. So if you want to increase your visibility or your likelihood to be seen or discovered in our search results or by a client with a boosted proposal, you can actually pay using our currency called Connects to have your profile boosted or your proposal boosted and be seen more. And that business has actually shown a lot of demand as well, as it's competitive for talent to win jobs with so much talent on the platform. Qualified talent we've seen, high intent freelancers are willing to pay to be seen and discovered. And those ad products, I like to call them kind of native ad products because they fit within what clients are doing already. They're doing searches for talent. They're soliciting proposals for job posts that they've put on the platform. And talent is just looking for places and ways to differentiate themselves. We're seeing that the actual fill rate for jobs that take advantage of a boosted profile or a boosted proposal are actually much higher than on the organic marketplace. So we use that as a metric to say how healthy is the ad in contributing to kind of the natural outcome that we would like to see on the marketplace, and find that it's actually really additive and it's creating efficiencies for clients as well as helping talent be discovered.
Got it. So just to clarify, these type of ads are about boosting specific freelancers, not about sending traffic outside your platform.
Correct. And together, when you think about our non-fees monetization, the subscriptions that we're driving through Freelancer Plus and the ads products that were fairly nascent last year and have grown throughout the year this year, we're on our way to the next $100 million business for Upwork. Those have grown very substantially over the course of the past year. And as we build new ad products and more capabilities, experiment with things like dynamic pricing on the platform, we're seeing not only the efficiencies in the marketplace in terms of marketplace health dynamics, but we're also creating a new revenue stream that's benefiting both sides, client and talent.
Is that one of your initial 0 to 1 experiments?
Well, you could call it maybe 10 to 20 or so, because we had some ad products that were built but not really invested so heavily in. And I'm a believer in creating native experiences. You see some of these other ad businesses for marketplaces like DoorDash or Instacart or even Amazon, and the ads business is driving 25-30% of their total revenue, which is substantial. I think another year or two, we're not far off driving a substantial and meaningful percentage of revenue from some of these ancillary opportunities and ads.
I also very curious to know how you use your own product. Can imagine that there are some app workers working for Upwork. So how do you give me some specific examples?
Wow. I'll give you probably the biggest and the most significant example that I can is that most of our engineers are freelancers that we've hired off of our own platform. So we have a management structure in place where we have engineering managers or directors, and they are hiring ICs to fill their teams with freelancers all around the world. So we've operated that way for many, many years. You can call it a great example of eating your own dog food. But nearly every function within Upwork has a mix of full-time employees and freelancers that we've hired off the platform. Engineering just happens to be one where we're super deep and strong with the function. And we have many engineers who are huge contributors to both strategy and product delivery. And maybe they live 2,000 miles away from where the product manager is sitting. It's a really fascinating model that allows us to kind of flex and change team focus. We can hire a pod of engineers for a 0 to 1 project in a week and get it spun up. It's a very efficient way to think about product development, and one that I didn't use before I got to Upwork. But now that I see it in action, I see how really powerful it can be.
I'm sure you've read some of these articles that talk about the potential one-person billion-dollar company and how that could be achievable via AI agents and also freelancers. How far are we from that moment?
I love that as an aspirational vision, that you have a solopreneur, single-person company that in the span of 5 years could create the next unicorn. And I think it's possible to really imagine that when you think about the transformative power of AI coupled with the skills that you can find out in the world to do virtually anything. So I think that the day when you have only a solopreneur who can build a company across every function without ever hiring a second full-time employee, that is like a masterful vision for an entrepreneurial person at heart, to think, yeah, I don't have to worry about, HR and finance and incorporation. I'm just going to build as I go and hire the right people at the right times to scale my business from 0 to 1 and 1 to 10 and 10 to 100 and get $1 billion valuation. I mean, that day is probably not that far off. And I think if you look at a lot of the companies that are being incubated in Silicon Valley right now, small, scrappy teams are doing a lot and building a lot by using AI tools and outsourcing some of the capabilities that are not going to be core to what their differentiation is. So to answer your question, I don't think we're that far off from that day.
That's a beautiful way to wrap up this interview. Thank you so much for your time, Dave.
My pleasure. Thank you, Carlos. It was a lot of fun.